Hey everyone, in this video we're going to cover specifically the two most common reasons for numbness and tingling of the hand, but not the whole hand, just these two fingers. My name is Sebastian and this is Don.
Hello.
We're part of locally world famous chiropractors in Costa Mesa, California. We're going to cover two exercises or positions that actually make a lot of people that we see with this condition actually feel pretty good. But first we're going to cover the two reasons why people typically have it. We'll show you on a model as well as on demonstration here too. So Don, what's the first most common thing that you see that creates numbness of these fingers?
I would say that the disc issues in the neck, similar to kind of disc issues in your low back, compressing on a nerve that radiates pain down the arm is probably the most common thing that we see in the office.
But you know, what if I don't actually have any neck pain?
That's okay. Everybody presents a little bit differently. Nerves are weird. They just present in different areas. You don't always have to have this like, I can draw a line down my arm where the pain is. Sometimes it presents in the fingers, sometimes it can present at the wrist or just the elbow. It pops up in different locations. You don't have to have neck pain for that to be the original or the origin place of it.
I know a lot of people that end up feeling like they have problems in here. They feel like it's either from their ulnar nerve right into here, or they feel like it's entrapment of the ulnar nerve at the elbow. Do you oftentimes see people with disc issues creating nerve root impingement, creating those phenomena?
Definitely. I'd say I see people who have been treated from the elbow down for a long period of time and they didn't see any symptom relief. And so as we chase it up and look above is when we start to see that it changes.
Well, why don't we go through a model then just to show what we're talking about first.
Cool. So I'm going to kind of start here. So this is kind of our spine and the base of our skull. And as we zoom in here.
All right, I'll get out of here for you.
Basically, the yellow structures that you see here is the neck, okay? So as I'm facing this way at Sebastian is what you're looking at here, back of the body and front of the body. If we get just a little bit closer here, you'll see the nerves that come out of the holes here, they called foramen. And so in here, there's some discs that can move around and pinch on those nerves. I'm gonna bring up a little bit of a different model so that you can see it a little bit better here. This is actually more of a low back disc model, but it gives you a better idea of kind of how the biomechanics of it works. So vertebra above, vertebra below, this is your disc here, and this is the hole where the nerve comes out. I'm gonna actually flip it around. Hole where the nerve comes out here where it can get impinged. And so sometimes we're sitting at our desk for long periods of time, we're doing exercises with some neck flexion or compression on top of the head, we'll start to see the discs can kind of migrate backwards and start to take up space where this hole is coming out. Once it affects this nerve here is when you start to feel the symptoms start to radiate somewhere like your shoulder blade, outside of the shoulder, anywhere down the arm, elbow, into the fingers.
Yeah, I'd say probably the shoulder blade is a really common sign that there's something associated with the neck creating the problem because I mean, even though it feels like your rhomboid has a trigger point in it, it's really, really common. It's called Cloward sign, and it's associated typically to cervical disc injuries.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, now we're going to go on to the second most common reason for numbness of these two fingers. By the way, actually, before we do this, numbness of the other fingers, in case you do have those, like the thumb and the index in the ring, or say not ring, the middle finger, that's usually associated to more median nerve problems like Carpal Tunnel Syndrome, or which can also be from the neck as well. We have a bunch of other videos on this on YouTube as well, so subscribe to the channel and then you'll see a bunch of references for it. The back of the hand can be more radial nerve, but typically if we're talking about these two fingers, it's most commonly ulnar nerve, right?
Yep, definitely.
So this is our demonstration of the sciatica of the arm, if you will. The ulnar nerve is created mainly by two nerve roots, unless you're an anatomical monster. Okay, so that is going to be C8 and T1. And so actually, this model is actually not too bad for it. And so it's going to go there, right? All right, now tell me what sciatica means. I'll be the model, Don. You go the rest of the way.
Okay, so he's saying sciatica of the arm because sciatica in your leg presents like ulnar nerve issues in the arm. So he's basically holding this at the neck here. What we really can see is actually, can I flip you around? This nerve can sometimes...
Let me know if I'm still on camera.
No, you're fine. So this nerve can sometimes come down into this area. There's some branches that can feel like that tight, knotty pain in the back of the shoulder blade issues. That can be responsible for that. You can feel it sometimes present somewhere around the shoulder blade into the triceps, some achiness, some sharp shooting pain into there. Usually inner part of the elbow here, we'll flip you back around now.
Also, you mentioned the nerves that go down the shoulder blade too. Technically, they're little tributaries.
Yeah,
So they're not the main ulnar nerve, in case everyone's looking
Yeah,
at
it kind of
references.
comes off of the ulnar nerve. There's different branches. But then it'll come down back of the arm, middle part of the elbow here, down the inner part of the forearm into the pinky and ring finger. It can be all of these areas. It can be one or two of these areas. It can sometimes change on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. So we actually know that, so we can call it arm sciatica because a lot of people who think they have like leg sciatica, a lot of times things like stretching really provokes it. And so what is the ulnar nerve tension test? This owl thing that everybody does, right? And so if you really want to light the sciatica of the arm up, especially in the ulnar nerve distribution, it's going to be the owl stretch.
Yep.
But some people can use that as treatment at some point once their arm sciatica gets a little less sensitive. The technical wording is called a radiculopathy, right? Or nerve irritation, essentially, right?
Yep.
Now we're going to get into two exercises or stretches that work really well for these two types of things. The first one is going to be more for the disc type of problem. The second one's going to be more for the sciatica of the arm. If you guys do have questions and want to learn more about the ulnar nerve, we do have a book reference that we created. It's up into the corner here somewhere. And so take advantage of that. It's a lot of great information that will guide you to a solution no matter where you're living.
Nice.
Let's do chin pumps.
Cool. Teach me.
Okay, so go ahead and turn towards me, Dawn. You just volunteered to do the chin pumps, huh? Okay. Okay. I want to okay, so my hand's really stinky. Can you get away from my hand? Okay, and get away from my hand. Don't chase my hand. Just don't do that either. Okay, can you act like your chin is on a thin pane of glass? Okay, don't take it off the glass. Don't break the glass, just slide off the glass. Good, and return. So Dawn's doing something called chin pumps or called cervical retraction. This does a couple things for the area. Number one is that a lot of people who have, that respond really well to this, usually they do so after probably about 20 reps, 30 reps, 40 reps. They'll notice that the symptoms start to come out of the hand and start to localize to the elbow or the shoulder blade or the shoulder. And that means it's centralizing, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Some people, this actually makes them feel worse. Okay. And why is that, Dawn?
Because it's not the right thing for them. There's other things that you can do if there is something at the neck or creating issues into this ulnar nerve. This is just one part of it, and it works for a lot of people, but if it's making it worse, it's just not the right exercise for you.
Yeah, and so this is one version of a movement medication that we use. It helps a lot of people, makes some people feel worse, but also the sad reality is some people like Dawn decides she wants to do this every day, 100 reps for the rest of her life, which is a really bad idea.
It'll create different issues.
Yep. What kind of other issues do you tend to see from using too much of these types of things?
Probably more local neck issues. You might start to get some joint irritation in there because you are loading into that joint multiple times a day for way too many days. There's a nice little sweet spot way that we prescribe this exercise specific to each person.
So also too, this helps out with uprighting the thoracic spine. It's a good thoracic spine mobilizer as long as the person doesn't only look up or like lean away, right? And so generally if you're in the backing of a chair and then they go slide back like so, that usually works out pretty well. But most people feel stiffness in the back of the neck, but they don't feel really any pain. It just feels kind of stiff.
Yeah, it might feel a little iffy at first. I'd say give it 10, 20 reps. You might notice those first 5 are a little, oh, I don't know if this is right for me. Oh, it's actually starting to feel better. So explore a good amount before you decide if this is right for you or not.
Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we call it a slackener. And so we mentioned that this arm sciatica is like an owl. Yeah, the owl move is the tensioner, right?
You can tension this way, you can tension this way too.
It depends upon the nerve root distribution. And so some people have a little bit of variances, if you will. So one easy thing is what we call this Cody Sign. And so if you guys look up on the internet and you see, look up Cody Sign, B-O-K-O.
B-A-K-O-D-Y.
It basically is a slackener of some of the nerves of the arm. And it's the phenomena where a lot of people say, well, like, it's really weird. My fingers are tingling. My hand really sucks. But if I put my hand on top of my head, it stops. And this is called Cody Sign. Who made that up? Mr. Cody?
I guess so. Why can't it be a miss?
Mrs. Cody, yep. And so this is another version of it, too. It's just a different version that works on people. It's like the arm sling, broken wing, we call it.
And we call it sciatica because if sciatica hurts and sucks, this would not feel so good, right? Stretching your hamstring. Same thing here. Stretching that nerve, slacken it instead and allow it a chance to breathe.
Yep. So if you guys are looking for more advice on how to solve this type of problem, quite honestly, if you're dealing with stuff of the hand, numbness, especially consistent numbness, especially any weakness, like your fingers are starting to like move in and stuff, you better deal with this pretty quickly. There's a window of time which is the best opportunity zone. Not to say you can't recover, but generally speaking, the sooner you deal with this, the better. So we see a lot of people with it, right, Don?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Virtually or in person.
You're right. So reach out to us. Our link is in the description, and we'll see you next time. Subscribe to the channel. We have a lot more videos on ulnar nerves and other types of hand numbness too.